I don't know that we changed the way we play much as it just now was the pace of game that was really high and one that we like. I think Seattle was very brave to come in and try and play the way that, and play a fast-paced game. We still feel that if a team's going to try and meet our speed, that's something that we're good at and that we're more used to. And we think that in the end, that still favors us. Even if we would have gone behind or whatever, that when we can play at that speed, that we're a little bit more fit, that we're a little bit more used to playing that way, and that we think eventually it'll work in our favor. We got some breaks last night, like they didn't finish some of their chances. But I also think if we were a little sharper, we could have made it 2-0 and maybe expand on it from there. So, and we all eventually did. But, I will say that, our team, as hard as that game was, I think that we stuck with the game and stuck with the way that we wanted to do things and then emerged with the win.
What do you see in Mike and the way that he was producing last night, but in general, his play as of late to help his team be successful?
Yeah, he's been really sharp. And, we've seen him gather momentum in training and then obviously into games. And it's been, now he's starting to collect more goals and be more dangerous. And I always say, and I always try to talk with Mike that when he's at his best, the balance that he has of playing simple and then doing special things is spot on. And when he gets that part right, then he is very dangerous and very difficult to deal with. So, and the other thing is, he's rewarded on the second goal for being on the run and being aggressive to be on the move and not just waiting for balls to feet. So we're always trying to get that balance right with our attacking guys. But overall, Mike has been really sharp lately and a big part of our success as of recently.
And you look at the back line of Luis Robles and the amount of time they've been able to keep a clean sheet.
Yeah.
What is your assessment, especially Robles and goal?
Well, one of the challenges that we've tried to give Luis is not just his own play, but the group in front of him, to be on top of them with all the little details. And I think he's gotten to the point where he knows he can rely on his own play, and a lot of his success now will be dictated by how well he can communicate and demand things out of the players in front of him, specifically the back line. And then, the whole team, I think, has upped their responsibility in terms of defensive commitment. And whether that means winning 50-50s or head balls or tackles or winning foot races to get back or committing big numbers and to get back as quickly as we can when there are moments of breakdowns. So that I think, all those things have led to us now, being harder to score on.
What's your approach to the schedule coming up? All of these road games and heading out west into that altitude.
Well, our approach is that as much as we know we've been on a run now, we have 4 straight games on the road if you include the Open Cup. So if we stop at all to think that we're doing really great, we can get ourselves in trouble. So we have to know that the next 2 weeks we have to absolutely dig in, call on a lot of guys, be ready to step up to the challenge, meet the demands of the schedule, which MLS has done us no favors. And in all ways, if we stop to feel good about ourselves, we could find ourselves in a losing streak. So we have to stay on top of all the little details and continue to demand a lot of each other.
All right, Salt Lake, what are some of the challenges you see?
Well, there's environmental elements such as the elevation, and it's going to be hot, and we have a quick turnaround. We have 1 day shorter rest than they do. Travel, everything else. But, they're a team with their front 4 guys that are very dangerous. And so I think we have to do a good job of keeping track of them and trying to keep the game tighter, certainly tighter than I think the Seattle game was. And then, in a tight game, still find ways to get a lead, and then, continue to hold things down in the back. But this will be a big task, a big, tough task for us.
The team wore armbands last night, the Orlando armbands. What do you mean for you and your guys to express solidarity with the Orlando community?
Yeah, as a nation, whenever we go through these moments, I think everybody asks why. And, that's something that being an American, I think, when things like this happen to our country, ideologically, I think, we have to stand up for what we believe in, and we have to stand up for each other. So I know that there's a big community down there in Orlando that's going through some tough times, and certainly a lot of the families that are struggling with why. And the more that I think as a nation we can all come together and support each other, the stronger we are, and the more that we'll have an ability to fight this. So, I was trying to already think about, I was looking for rainbow ties and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't easy to find. But in every way, whether it's the lesbian, gay, transgender community, or whether it's just, the American community, whatever, you know, I mean, I'm a big believer in standing up for what we all believe in, and certainly in that moment for us as a club to come together and for the league to come together to support the Orlando community, I think was really important.
Is it always a good sign to get a win after a contract extension?
You know, it hasn't really factored in too much around here. I mean, I appreciate that people have supported me and congratulated me for different, you know, for the contract, but it really hasn't changed anything.
Is there an update on Ronald Zubar? I know he kind of came off.
Yeah, we think he'll be okay. I mean, the whole week we were thinking that, trying to figure out that it's probably a 2-game week for him and figure out which games are the ones to play him in. And, you know, with this little thing, I think it's slightly a cramp, slightly a little twinge. It probably makes sense that Wednesday's off for him and then get him ready for Saturday.
With the 5-game winning streak, including the Open Cup, and now you have big match at Salt Lake, always tough at home, and Columbus, the team that knocked you out in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Does this have a chance to kind of validate the progress you guys have made the past 2 months if you can get, let's say, 4 points from it?
Well, validate it as much as it tests it, right? It will really, this will be a great test to see where we're at. And it's so weird in this league how hard it can be on the road. And so, yeah, these are 2 really tough places to play, 2 teams that we respect a lot. So we'll take it 1 game at a time. First of all, going to Salt Lake on a short turnaround will be very difficult. And already we've challenged each other to step up to this challenge and find a way to get a result.
Jesse, with Colin not starting and Sasha coming out early against Seattle, how does that play into the squad rotation, and how are you looking at that moving forward to these road games?
Well, you know, when the game was so wide open and fast right away, I'm thinking, you know, as much as I'm trying to focus on the result on that night, I'm also thinking, like, man, how are we going to be able to turn around for Wednesday and then Saturday and then Wednesday? And so yeah, the decision to take, you know, even in the Open Cup, to take Brad out early was to make sure that we're managing his minutes. To take Sasha out early was to manage his minutes. We wanted to take Brad out early, but then Ronald changed that plan a little bit. So we're trying to manipulate the games without being too cute, but to try and manage players' workloads. Because in the end, you know, results are going to be really important, but for the longevity of our success, we also need to make sure that we get through this stretch without injuries.